Have you ever looked at them and had that sudden, jarring realization that your parents are actually getting older? The poet Kamala Das was a master at capturing these moments. She was one of India's most celebrated writers, known for taking the deep, messy tangles of human relationships and laying them out in simple, clear language. Her poem, My Mother at 66, takes place on an ordinary Friday morning. She's driving to the airport in Cochin, and her mother is sitting right there beside her in the passenger seat. It's a completely mundane car ride, but it becomes the stage for a quiet internal crisis about what it means to face mortality. The poem begins with a glance. Kamala looks over and sees her mother dozing off, her mouth slightly open in sleep. She describes her mother's face as ashen, the gray, drained color of a fire that has completely gone out. It's a haunting image, and Kamala goes even further, comparing her mother's resting face to a corpse. In that moment, she feels a sharp sting of pain. She realizes her mother actually looks as old as she is. The reality of time has finally become visible. Being trapped in the small, quiet space of the car only makes the panic worse. The thought of her mother's decline becomes too heavy to sit with. To find some air, she forces herself to look away. She turns her gaze to the window, desperate to put those painful thoughts out of her mind. Outside, the world is moving. She sees young trees sprinting, that optical illusion where the speed of the car makes the trees look like they are running for their lives. She also notices merry children spilling out of their homes, a scene full of uncontained energy and joy. The poet shows us two different worlds. Inside the car, everything is still, aging, and quiet. But outside, the world is in constant motion, bursting with youth and life. The car window acts as a boundary, keeping the mother's reality and the outside world separate. But this view doesn't bring her peace. Instead, all that life outside just makes the decline of her mother feel even more stark and painful. Eventually, the drive ends. They arrive at the airport and are physically pulled apart by the security check. As the poet stands a few yards away, she turns back to look at her mother one last time. She sees her mother as wan and pale, capturing that specific colorlessness you see in someone who has grown frail and exhausted. She compares her to a late winter's moon. In the winter, the moon often looks hazy and dull, obscured by the cold, and it marks the very end of a cycle. Those few yards of distance at the security gate represent a much bigger separation. It's a preview of the permanent distance death will eventually create. This sight brings back what Kamala calls an old familiar ache, her childhood's fear. This ache is rooted in the primal, universal terror of losing a parent forever, a fear most of us first recognize when we're very young. But look at the gap between what she's feeling and what she actually says. Despite the panic inside, she simply tells her mother, "See you soon, Amma." The poem ends with one repeated action. She tells us that all she did was smile and smile and smile. That smile isn't about happiness. It's a mask. She's using it to hide her own terror so she can reassure her mother and keep her calm. This is how we often handle the weight of mortality. When the people we love are fading, we put on a brave face to protect them from our own grief. Aging is a natural process that no one can stop, but the quiet, steady strength we use to protect each other in those moments, that is a profound act of love.